Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Here we have my Jinbao Bruticus with my custom 3D printed upgrade kit installed. The last time we looked at this figure on the channel, I had a full set installed, all printed in white of a prototype, a final revision of a prototype. What we have before us is my final set that I'm going to have on this figure for myself. There's some minor flaws here and there, but it's good enough for me. And this is the 2.0 version of the kit, which will be added to the file set for the original set of models for the figure, so that anybody that's already purchased that set will get these improved model set for free. They can just re-download it. And what I've done with this improved set, there's going to be a rev change log with the model set, but we've added upper, left, and right chest components to fill out his upper chest on the left and right side, outwards and upwards, and there's ratcheted joint assemblies in there. I've increased the chest wing assembly by about 1 inch and have enhanced the details. I've added an optional set of toy style thighs with molded details besides the cartoon style thighs, and I've also added some additional components for more stability in the legs, some parts for the feet and some brackets for the back of the 2 leg butts. Okay, so the purpose of this video, though, is not to go over that kit, the changes, or the figure. The purpose of this video is to go over this right here, Onslaught's trailer. And with my upgrade kit installed, you're left with this big chunk of plastic that serves no purpose, the original wing assembly and what are his thighs in combiner mode, or the trailer for Onslaught. So it bothered me that I had this sitting around with just collecting dust, serving no purpose. And one night I went to bed and I sort of had a light bulb go off in my head on what I could do with this. And the next morning I immediately started working at incorporating this into something that could be useful for the figure. So the first thing we're going to do, though, before we do anything like that, is we're going to semi-transform this. And we're going to take the back of the trailer, we're going to fold it over as if we're making his thighs. And then that's the transformation for this right here, just like that. The configuration you want it in. You want these 2 connectors here for the legs out like that, and you want access to these 2 connectors here. So you want it just like that. And now we've got I've designed 2 options for this. And one is a gun and one is a sword. Now, my preferences are going to be the gun, and it's a big Gatling gun because the Combaticons, as far as I'm concerned, and Bruticus, he gives me heavy artillery vibes kind of combiner, not a sword-wielding vibe kind of combiner. So I'm gonna showcase the sword first, and then quickly showcase that. It's pretty simple. And then we're going to go into the Gatling gun because it's a little more in-depth and more complicated. So give me a moment here. We've got this big piece of plastic, which is the blade. And I've just got it all painted up here. And then we've got our handle right here. And I put a Decepticon logo either side. So it's pretty simple with the sword. You've got these 2 ports, they're offset. The thicker side is going to go towards the thicker side of the thighs. So just like that. Let me set that down. These go in here like that. And then you've got your handle that has 2 ports for these 2 tabs right here. And that just goes on there like that. And there you have your sword, like that. As you can see how tall that is. The sword is just under 21 inches in total length. And there are pegs on the handle that the sword tabs into, but this prototype, I printed them with the pegs as part of the model set and printed them like that. So due to the layer lines, they're easy to snap off, and I snapped them off. The final version of this, the pegs will be separate, that can be printed laying down, and that will give them a lot more strength, and then you'll just glue them in place. So here's our sword. Again, another look at it. And he can wield it, hold it up on it. Mine is a little loose there with those tabs, but you know, he can put it up on his shoulder, have it standing up like that. The joints on the figure are not strong enough for him to like wield it out here or hold it in a pose. It is considerably heavier than a Jinbao Bruticus sword because there's a lot of plastic in here. It's quite thick. But let's go ahead and take this apart and we'll go over the gun, which is really the star of the show in this video. First, we've got some bullets with some shattered Autobot symbols. And you can print as many of these as you like. These are prototypes. The final version of these are much better than this. For example, this comes apart, but in the final version they lock in place. But these are the bullets. They print in three separate pieces so they can be painted easily. Then we've got our handle. So we've got our pegs here, and they're printed laying down. They glue in from the side. You got his trigger there and up here, and this is on a hinge, and this assembly here is on a hinge as well. And we've got a peg here and a peg here that we can attach our bullet chain to, and that's all painted up. Then we've got our barrel, and I have this all painted up. Decepticon logo there. We've got a hinged handle here. We've got a peg here and another peg over here to hold bullets, the whole bullet chain. Take that off. We got the end of our barrel here, and these are all 5mm ports, so they're blast effect compatible. We've got a 5mm port there, 5mm port there, another 5mm port there. Some decorative molding on the front. And the coolest thing about this Gatling gun is when you rotate, the barrel does rotate. When you rotate it, okay, so now let's get this gun all together. So we've got two ports here that are going to connect to those combiner pegs, just like that. And then we've got two ports here that are going to connect to these waist pegs here. Flip this up, connect them like that, and then this linkage has two ports here that it connects into, and they just pop it in, just like that. And then we have our Gatling gun. And then if you can have as many of these printed out as you like. You can have them draped over his shoulders, whatever you want. Again, don't mind this one, it's a prototype. My final version of this for myself is being printed on my resin printer. So what I did, trying to remember, is I think I hooked that back there, just for now. And now I'm going to put this in his hands. It's quite heavy, so it's going to take a balancing act with him. And I recommend if you have get a small chain, wrap it around his shoulders to help keep it lifted up. It's not 100% necessary, but it's just something I recommend. But he will hold this. And again, also in the final version of this, there's going to be pegs in this lever to tab into his other hand as well. So let me see if I can get him holding this without having a catastrophe happening here. Okay, so Take this hand here. Peg port, peg port. And this big combiner, he has 6mm peg ports. So on his gun, so the ports in his hands, the custom 3D printed hands are also 6mm. There we go. That's in there. Left hand. Put this finger on the trigger. Oops. I'll fix that in a minute. Put that hand in there. And as I said, it would be, my final version has a peg on here that I could peg into this hand, but this is my painted up prototype. Okay, now I'll get you. Back up into this robot that doesn't like to stay tabbed together. There we go. Now we're going to have to stand him up, get his feet planted properly. And there we go. So, I really love the look of this, and I love how it turned out. He looks super imposing with that massive Gatling gun that could probably level mountains, given the size of the combiner and the size of the gun. And the gun itself is 21 inches, just over 21 inches long. It's as long as he is tall. And like again, you could print as many of these as you like and clip them together. You can have it chained to the front. You can have some crisscrossed over his chest, whatever you want to do with them. But like I said, Bruticus in my mind is a heavy artillery guy, and this is heavy artillery. So the files for this, the gun and the sword, will be together on CG Trader, their own separate sets, separate from the original upgrade kit, as I put a lot of work into them separately. I've spent the last 2 weeks working on this upgrade for the trailer, but they will be available on CG Trader, and with a little bit of paint you can make this thing look really incredible and blend in with the figure just fine. And like he is, like I said, he's holding it up good. It's not touching the ground. He's able to, like, that would be more secure with the final version and the peg that's in that handle, but he still holds it fine. And that hand is pegged in. And if anything lets go, it's going to be the robot himself up here, because that robot, his legs, they're weak. On mine, anyways, they connect together. They come apart loosely. This one over here is even worse. That is why my kit has that adapter to keep his legs tabbed together. But yeah, it turned out great. I'm really happy with how this thing looks. And the ratcheting feature of the barrel, that was something I just had to add. So that's it for this video, guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And that, other than the original combiner hands, everything now is incorporated into this figure, including the trailer that before was just sitting aside, has been turned into this incredibly large, imposing Gatling gun. Thanks for watching.